Hi, this is Anya, Catherine, and Lilia with Conscious Conversation and Connection. We are here as divine women in our infinite wisdom, grace, and love to create a conscious space for authentic conversations and connections. We invite you to join us in exploring the experiences and conceptions that allow us to see the truth in all that exists within and around as we release illusions, transcend, and walk our sacred path of ascension. The essence of each time we gather will be of deep gratitude for each other, as each of our soul's purpose and gifts will bring forth a different perspective. With this, we bear witness to the magic of what evolves through pure love and authenticity as we elevate our reality and our divine embodiment.
Thank you, Anya. That was beautiful.
That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Welcome to our new podcast.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Me too. Me too.
So I believe we're gonna just introduce ourselves a little bit, so you know who we are as individuals and why we're here and what we came to do. So I am CathrineCormin, and I know that I am here on this earth to be of service in the ascension process and helping the planet and our people to raise their vibration, lift the vibration of the planet, help us all as we go through this ascension, which of course is never ending. And some of my gifts, I've always known as an adult that I am a healer, and I chose a career in the healthcare industry, knowing that I had that as a big part of my purpose, is helping people to heal. And even though I was in a traditional setting as an occupational therapist, I was able to utilize a lot of hands-on techniques with my people that I was working with. And I was able to do a lot of body work, and through that process, learning a lot about energy, how to help people with more than just the physical through that process. And that's just sort of evolved over time. And over the years, I've learned how to connect with my higher self, how to connect with higher guides, teachers, ascended masters, and all that. I've learned how to channel. And so I'm also a channel, as well as when I say healer, as I'm saying that, I'm realizing I'm facilitating healing. let me make that clear. I'm not actually, I don't feel that I am the healer here to heal you. I am facilitating your healing process. You're the one that's actually doing the healing. But through the process of channeling, I am connecting with higher guides, light beings, my higher self, the higher self of the person that I'm working with. And I connect in particular with the Yeshua, who works through me as a conduit for Christ consciousness. And I am able to, I just really kind of discovered that in the last 2 or 3 years, that he works directly through me as a conduit, and his energy comes through, transmits, and whatever needs to happen for the individual I'm working with is what happens. And that can come through in the form of messages. It can come through energy transmissions, healing energy codes, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so that's what those are my gifts. That's what I bring to the table at this time anyway. So ever evolving. But Lilia, how about you?
Thank you, Catherine. That was so beautiful. I've been fortunate enough to have a session with each of these beautiful women, and she's absolutely right. You know, I just saw Yeshua just come straight through to her, and like they both did their thing. So it was beautiful. So I am Lilia Collins. Allow me to introduce myself: psychic medium healer, realm walker, jack of all trades of all sorts. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last 20 plus years. And now that the kids are off to college, you know, I've been refining my abilities and bringing these like modalities to the public, and I'm looking forward to working with a lot of you guys that are out there. And I channel all sorts of beings. I channel, and I've had my light language ability activated. So I do a lot of that. And what I tend to see when that happens is it creates like a portal, this really beautiful portal that allow like the spirit guides to come in through. And sometimes the energy can be really palpable. So I just started that, and my bio is going to be very quick. And I think that's about it. That kind of wraps it up. And I teach people how to walk the realms, and I assist with anything that they need in their life, you know, with guidance and relationships and career, and you know, managing the energies, because a lot of you guys out there are so sensitive, and sometimes you need some help and guidance just to, like, you know, find your way through these energies. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you guys. You know, we've got some tools that we want, you know, to share with you, so you guys can navigate this planet a lot more, you know, a lot easier than, you know, what we've been doing. We're all just here to share. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anya.
Thank you both. That was beautiful. So I am a multidimensional facilitator for healing, and I'm a channel. And gosh, I've been in the holistic and alternative healing industry for about 30 years. And this led to coming into my own gifts and finding my way. And so I facilitate as a healer on an emotional, physical, spiritual level. And I work with the heart complex and bringing us into heart harmonization. I also work with the meridians, the nodal system in the body, and with the central nervous system. So working on many different levels to assist everyone to learn and to remember how to heal themselves. So as mentioned before, when Catherine mentioned that, as a facilitator, we're not specifically doing the healing for you. We're truly facilitating and bringing, it's your inner healer coming up to acknowledge what's going on in the body and transform anything that you would like. And so that's what I do. So we also wanted to talk about oh, I forgot something. So I've just started coming into doing more harmonics and doing some toning with the healing, because within my healing there's also light and sound. And so the sound is now not just coming through the frequency in the healing, but coming through verbally. And so that's also been included in what I do. And so, yeah, so we all met. So I'm going to open it up here. Go ahead, Catherine.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think it was Anya and I that met first. We both attended an expo probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say. We didn't know each other prior to that, but we had been pursuing the teachings of a particular group and teacher. And they had put on an expo, and then we went to that individually. And I remember the person that was putting the expo on, one of the main speakers, had a sort of a meet and greet, and we for people, and we met up in the lobby of the hotel, and we several of us went out to lunch afterwards, and we just built a connection almost right away, and we continued to meet throughout that weekend, and have meals together, and we just didn't want to lose that connection, so it kind of carried on after that through monthly, and then I think weekly meetings, and we've been connected ever since. So yeah, that's how Anya and I met. And then Lilia, do you want to share kind of how we kind of all came together?
Yeah, it was through that. We had a meditation course together, if that's what you want to call it, I guess. And it was 7, 10 of us, which was really intimate. And so I felt like such a bond with you guys already, even though we weren't like chatty with each other, we were more like listening and integrating like the energies. And then we were invited to do this conference down in Tampa.
Mhm.
So it's one thing to know people online, but it's a whole different story when you get to meet them in person and really get to feel their energies. And like seeing you guys in person, it was just like finding long lost sisters, that you kind of have like that deep remembering that you guys have known each other before and done this kind of work before. So, you know, I knew right away, like, I'm like, okay, I've got to do something with these two. Like, they're just such amazing, beautiful beings of light. So, the guides were like, you guys need to do something together. So let's get the ball rolling. So I mentioned this idea to them about the podcast, and, here we are, we're all, learning from each other. We come in together with these different modalities, and I'm always interested in how they do things and how they channel and how they clear energy. So we're always, sharing different perspectives. So yeah, it was like finding two beautiful long lost sisters.
I agree.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like this is such a beautiful opportunity for, like you said, for us to come together and share our experiences. And I feel like that's so important in these times right now. Well, always, but especially now with everything that's going on, everything that's shifting and changing and coming at us, everything's happening so rapidly and major shifts. So having people that you connect with that are right there with you, going through it too, and navigating through, these processes. And it's just so important, I think, to have a support system, a tribe or a group of people, or those that are just trying to figure it out as well. And it's in those shared experiences, that we learn and we grow and we find comfort and support that, hey, I'm not in this on my own. I'm not the only one, having that space and those people that you can confide in and ask questions and explore ideas and concepts and trying to understand things better. It just makes such a difference to know that you can feel safe and can communicate and not feel like you're going to be judged or ridiculed or someone thinking that you're crazy. This stuff is real, and it's important for us to be there for each other right now. I think more than ever we need each other, and that's what I think are hoping to create here, or at least that's what I am hoping to create here, as a space for us to just, not only the three of us, but anyone that's joining us, to offer an opportunity for you to share your, what you've got going on too. We hope to be able to at some point create not a way to communicate and have some interaction with you as well, because we all learn from each other. We all are here just trying to figure it out together, and hopefully this will be a platform that we can help provide that.
Yeah, that was really beautiful and well said. And that's something we want to bring to the audience is these two women, along with myself, we share this very beautiful, safe and sacred space. Before we started just a few minutes ago, I was having so many issues. I think we're in a retrograde. So, my nerves were just a little shot. So they were so grounding, and they were like, okay, and yes, and this is safe, so this is what we want to create for the audience. We'll eventually have live podcasts for you guys to ask anything you want, and not be, and just feel like it's safe to ask.
Yes, and now as you were speaking, I was going back into a little more history. We originally came together to create an event, and and we realized there seemed to be some delays, a few roadblocks, and more our attention was being being brought into the now instead of planning way ahead, because right now the changes are happening very quickly and require incredible presence. And so we felt that our attention needed to be here right now with incredible presence as we all come together. And so that was how the podcast was developed. So yeah, in like less than a month, which is really amazing. So yeah, so here we are.
I think we felt we would start with just talking about what's happening right now, right? What's going on, because so much is happening. The energies are changing, and Anya, I love what you said about being present and being here now, because so much, I know I've been feeling this a lot, especially the last couple of days, but everything keeps changing. So, and it's just been a constant stream of changes happening all the time that we have to sort of be able to be in the flow. And in order to do that, you have to be in the moment. And it's not always easy. We're programmed, I think, to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is my plan. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and that's going to lead to that. And, we're very programmed to do that. That's how we've always existed. And I think it's teaching us that that's not really working anymore. That's not really working anymore, because something's going to pop up to say, oh, nope, we're not doing it that way now. And I've had that happen so much in the last few months, especially, where I think I'm going one way. Okay, I have an intention. I always have an intention, right? Like, okay, here's kind of where I want to go. But I'm finding that every time I try to make some sort of plan, boom, nope, that's not the way it's going to go. Okay. And so I know that it's not easy for me, but I'm feeling like I'm finally getting to, it's happened enough in the last week, few days. I'm just like, okay, I've got to just surrender and just go with it, whatever it is, and try not to get too worked up about it, and just shift with it. Like, okay, oh, this is happening now. Okay, I was going this way, but now I'm going to shift this way just a little bit. And that's what I've been feeling lately. I don't know. How about you guys?
Yeah, that's beautiful. We have to remember during these times, like, not to be so linear. When I walk my dog, I'm like, okay, we're going to walk around the block. She's going to, do her business, and then we're done. She wants to stop at a tree and she wants to go in a circle. And I'm like, no. We're going to keep going. And the guides come in and they're like, well, she stopped here because we want you to talk to this tree. And she stopped here because there's a bird that has a message for you. So we have to remember to just stop and slow down. And you're right, and be in the moment. The construct is to be so linear, and it's, we have to change that, and sometimes we go in circles until we learn our lesson, so that was really well said. And yes, like, stop, ground, see what the message is. If those things are not going right, obviously your attention is being drawn to something, and just kind of feel into it.
Yeah, for me, oh gosh, I think each day is very different for me. I begin the day depending on what I was doing during sleep, during sleep mode, depending on where I was, what I was doing, how I was facilitating. And when I wake up in the morning, it depends on the energy of what's occurring globally within Gaia. And so each day is very different. And so it's very much taught me to be in flow and to sense and be present with what I'm sensing. And when clients come in, it gives me an idea of what's happening depending on the person and what their experiences are. But it allows me to to feel into what's really truly happening on a collective level. And so with, each person, everyone's experiencing everything so differently. But like, for instance, this last week, there isn't another wave of awakenings that's occurring where people are in disbelief. They're in disbelief that, okay, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but this isn't ending. Something's happening. Why? So depending on where people are, um, it's really truly being in presence with each individual as to where they are. Because if we're trying to rush or teach in a way that we think somebody needs to be taught, it doesn't work. We really have to all navigate in the way that we are meant to navigate as individual souls. So I may be going totally off, but we're just going to flow with it. So, so it's really amazing what I'm witnessing each day, and it's really beautiful because I'm watching people come into, their new senses. So where they may have felt like they were ignoring things or didn't understand things, they're starting to wake up and really allow their sensory system to engage and to discover and to learn. And so this is truly, I'm witnessing a big, big awakening on many different levels. So it's really, I find it to be really beautiful and inspiring. So
I love that. And I love that you mentioned that awakenings, like we go through waves of awakenings, right? It's not what I have realized, I guess, recently is we don't just awaken all at once and then we're done. It's a series of them, or you might have a big one and then that gets the ball rolling and you're absorbing, integrating, processing that for a while, and then something else happens to shift you even to the next level of awakening or the next awareness. And it's really you guys can weigh in on this, but it feels like it's just shifts in conscious awareness, right? So it's if you have only lived in a small room, you only know that small room, right? But then maybe one day the window cracks open and then you realize, oh, there's a whole other outside out here that I didn't even know existed. And then you start to just explore that for a while. And then you might realize, oh, there's a gate over here that goes out even further. And it's just a continual growth experience. So I love that you're bringing up that there's like another wave of awakenings, and we all start, wherever we're at, but and we awaken in different ways. All of us do. So we get our pieces of that depending on what we need at that time. And so, yeah, I love that you mentioned that, and you're seeing some of that in your clients right now.
Yeah, that's so well said. Gosh, what was I going to say to that? It's an evolution. What I find is we're so stuck in, and sometimes we can get stuck in our beliefs and go, well, no, it's this way. And they're like, well, you're here to evolve. Your truths are absolutely your truths, and but truth change, beliefs change. And that's what, our podcast is going to reveal and hopefully help, awaken, and create more doors for some of you out there. It's a process, and it's in baby steps. The guides are very gentle, because sometimes we hold on to our beliefs so tight and we're not ready to let go, so, there's a seed planted and you're like, okay, maybe I was wrong about this. I remember when, I was listening to someone, I'm like, okay, she's got it going on. She knows what she's talking about. She's very grounded. And then she was talking about like, you know, fairies and gnomes and wizards. I'm like, yeah, no, don't think so. You know, but the seed was planted. And now, you know, my whole world is full of, you know, the unseen, and, you know, there's this whole new perspective. So yeah, it's an evolution.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, yeah, I would say too, yeah, when I first started to awaken, it was just the beginning of like realizing, oh, there really is something beyond physical that we know, like guides, ascended masters, and we can connect with them and we can talk to them and we can receive messages, our higher self. And then it might expand out later to, oh, there's beings from other planets and dimensions. And that, and you can speak to them too, and fairies, and yeah, earth creatures. And so I think, we have our truths, we have our beliefs at any given time, but we have to kind of still keep that open mind, that open heart, like, okay, well, this maybe is true for me now, this is what I know, this is what I understand for now, but that could change or expand or might shift in a different way. Well, okay, this is how you saw it then because that's where you were ready to understand it, that was the level you were able to understand it on. Now let's show you this. Oh, okay, so maybe it's really more this way. And so I think part of what we want to create here too is an expansion of ideas and things that we have maybe not thought of before, or have not experienced before, and share the things that we're experiencing too on a daily basis.
yeah, I love that. And what you both said, with even with the belief systems, because the belief systems, from what I'm seeing and what I've experienced myself, we're taught certain things, and as we know, not all of what we are taught or what we are conditioned to believe in is it's a pattern that begins. It's a program. And so, we hear about programming, and so many people don't understand what that means. And so it's like those patterns that start to develop. And when someone, and including, I'm sure we've all had this experience, when we're in belief of something and it suddenly comes through, something else, another belief system comes through, and we're feeling that energy or a pull to pay attention to something. And then we feel that resistance because, well, no, but I believe this. And we feel that little bit of resistance coming through. The resistance is the deep dive. Like that's the niggle. That's that's the part that's like, hey, pay attention. There might be something else here that you might find interesting, or that opens your eyes to something totally different, or, and so every time I feel myself in resistance, I dive deep. That's the deep dive. That's like, okay, let's go here. Let's figure this out. Let's explore. Let's not limit myself. So I really love the whole thing about the belief system and how to transform that, and how to transform and see larger pictures and see what else is out there. And kind of reminds me of like travel, like, okay, we're stepping out of, Tucson, and let's go to another country. And suddenly you are exposed to cultures, to landmarks, to energy, it's mind blowing sometimes what happens when there's travel. Because while it's not that much different, it's that much different. And that's kind of what it reminds me of, is just exploring. It's just a moment of exploration. So yeah, belief systems and patterns is something I really love to transform.
I love that. And I totally agree with you on the travel. It's expansive traveling. And I haven't traveled a ton, but I have enough to know how much of it, how it expands your mind, how it expands your being, getting out of your routine and going somewhere, experiencing a different, like you said, a different energy, different culture. And it's interesting because when we do that, we start to realize how much we are all the same, basically how much like people are people everywhere,
Mhm.
whether you're in Europe or Australia or Idaho, whatever. It's people are people, we're all just striving to create the best lives we can create for ourselves. And we're learning as we're going, we're figuring things out, we're making mistakes always, and then, oh well, that didn't work out quite so well, so okay, now I'm going to try something else. And wow, I feel like it's so expansive when you immerse yourself in different places and in different cultures where you see that part of it, but you also see things that they might do differently, or might have slightly different belief systems, or sometimes big differences in belief systems. And but it's like, oh, at the very least, if you can have an open mind about it, it offers you an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. And from that new perspective, you can kind of get in, determine or discern based on your heart, what you feel in your heart. Is this something, that I will want or feel I should shift my beliefs toward? Or is it just reaffirming for me in my truth, no, that's not for me. Maybe perfectly perfect for them, but maybe not quite for me. But I find that interesting. Great. I'm going to still stick with what I believe. But it's until you get out there and you experience that, and it's that relationship that you have with others, and immersing yourself in opportunities to be around different types of people, different types of experiences, places, um, types, like mountains versus oceans versus, whatever all those experiences help contribute to our understanding of who we are and our connection to other people that are here on this beautiful planet with us. And wow, we gain so much perspective that way, and it can be eye-opening. And I feel like ascension is that same thing, just so I love that analogy, Anya. So thank you for bringing that up, because it is very much like that, and that's a real tangible way to kind of understand it, I think, because most of us have at least traveled some, even if it's, maybe you haven't gone to other countries, but you've traveled into other places in your state, or you've traveled to other places in your country, within the country, other states. And you can see and understand that in a very real way, I feel like.
Yeah. So just remember, when you guys are out there, it's not East Coast versus West Coast or North versus South. That was a huge lesson for me. I was in Michigan and moved to South Carolina, and it was a little bit of a culture shock. So I had to get over those barriers, and like, yeah, we are all the same. So don't let, anything intimidate you or make you feel like they're different. We're all this one beautiful collective. Get alone in a room with a stranger. You guys have so many commonalities. It's not Republican versus Democrat or this versus that, not to make it political, but the thing is, we're all the same. Let's get over those aesthetics and, this versus them. Like, this is about love and coming together. The energies are changing. We're, it's just, we're not different. The energies make us feel like we're different, or they're different, and we're not. If you get to the root of everything, it's all about love, and laughing and joy, and you know, we've all had the same, you know, dysfunction, you know, in families, and we're struggling to get over them. But at the end of the day, you know, we're all, you know, siblings of this greater being. So yeah.
Yeah, that was really what you both said. With Catherine, when you were speaking, and I was thinking it really truly is exactly ascension. And Lilia, when you said it's not about politics, you know, or it really isn't, like, at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's that negligent, and I mean, it's here, you know, it exists, but it really truly is about humanity and human beings and coming together as human beings and coming together as in our uniqueness with our own gifts, and just loving each other and respecting each other. And you know, often I hear people say, you know, to be tolerant. So tolerant, for me, there's some resistance there. And so sometimes we need to look at those words that we're talking about, the words that we say, and really another dive deep. I love diving deep. And you know, it's not even really about tolerance, it's about acceptance. It's about accepting someone else's view and accepting and loving someone regardless of what their viewpoint is. Because really, oh my gosh, if we're all evolving at any given time, we've met that person exactly at some point. We have a common bond with each and every individual. And it's truly accepting and loving. And, you know, that's part of the unity. That's part of the change in which, you know, um, I wish to see. And so therefore I do. So yeah, it's just, it truly is really about that. It's really that simple. There's so many things that have been glorified, and but I do feel that we are here. I truly feel we are here and we are shifting that. I really do. I really believe. I really have faith in us.
I agree. I feel like so much is coming to the surface right now, and I've really been feeling this in the last week, that there's so much coming out and becoming visible. You know, like I was receiving some guidance yesterday, I believe, like it's global transparency is what's happening. Is there's all these things coming up that maybe had been hidden, you know, or we just didn't see, or we swept under the rug, or we whatever we didn't want to see. And all that keeps coming to the surface. So when you were talking about division versus unity and being in allowance, being acceptance, we don't have to agree, you know, with everything that's happening, you know, or what everyone's belief systems are, but we can be accepting or in allowance for, I kind of like that term. Like, okay, that's what your beliefs are right now. It may not be the same as mine, at least at this point in time, but that's where you are. This is where I am. And it's okay that we don't agree. It's okay that we don't are not taking the same exact path. And I can have unconditional love for you, even if I don't really like you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that happens a lot.
There's
Yes.
people that I don't really like, you know, or I don't want to be around. And that's okay. I can still have that underlying, okay, but you're a human being. I can have unconditional love for you, regardless of whether I agree with what you're doing or what you're believing in. I don't have to like you. I don't even have to want to be around you. That's perfectly okay for me to, like, I'll be over here. You go right ahead and do, you know, what you need to do. So I think we have to kind of come into that understanding too, that it's not necessarily about loving absolutely liking absolutely everything that everyone is choosing, because we're all in different places. We've all had different experiences. We've all lived in different types of communities, even though we are ultimately the same. We are humans, we are beings of light, we all come from source. We're all experiencing different things because that's how we're learning and growing, right? That's how we learn from those experiences. Some of us are playing roles here. And so we may have come in, even though we might be very evolved, we may have come in to play a certain role to help somebody else learn. And I feel like, you never really know what someone else is here to do, and why they're choosing some of those things that they're choosing. There may be, well, most likely there is a very divine purpose behind it. There's a reason for it. And so I don't have all that information, nor do I need to have all that information.
Yeah.
So I just have to be me and stay true to my heart, align with who I am, align with my guidance and intuition, my higher aspects of self, know what is true for me right now, because that could change, at any given time, right? It can change. But for me right now, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I believe. This is where I'm going. I'll, listen. I'll hear your perspective, and then I can make my own choice, just like you can make your own choice. And that's really all we're all doing. That's, it's really what we're doing. And, we magnetize the people to us, and we're magnetized to the people who are kind of in the same energy, the same, at the same level of consciousness, the same, having the similar, maybe not exactly the same, but similar ideas, similar understandings. And we gravitate toward that because that's what we need right now. That's what we need to grow and expand even further. And so we gravitate toward those individuals who are maybe a little bit higher than us, or maybe, in similar, have experiences and knowledge for us to learn from. And then we tend to gravitate away from those who are not in that frequency range or in that level of consciousness. And that's perfectly okay to do that. And I think we have to give ourselves some self-love and understanding that, it's okay for me to not want to interact with everyone, even though I can allow them to be who they are. Is that making sense?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And that's a really beautiful reminder. Like, as people awaken to what's happening on the planet, we're like, oh my God, they're doing this and they're doing that. And we're like, they tend to get angry and they stay stuck in that lower consciousness where they feed into that behavior. And the thing is, to remind people is like, you don't have to feed into it. You don't have to be so angry about it. Your job as you are ascending is to pull away from that and awaken to your Christ consciousness, heal yourself and let's look at our own issues, and then ascend into like God consciousness and call in light and be an anchor for this planet, because we all have things to do and we can't, I see so many angry people on Facebook, and they're angry at, the cabal and celebrities and all, the politicians, and yeah, they're not behaving. A lot of these people are doing some really shady things. But the thing is let's step away, let's look at our own issues and, get on that ladder into higher consciousness, and yeah, what they're doing, yeah, we don't like it, and we don't have to like them. But yeah, we can bring in more love and we can channel in some energies, to these groups, because they need it. They're all coming from a lot of pain and anger, and they don't know better, so the reminder is, continue on your own path and call in the light and channel these energies in, so that we can help. We all have a bigger purpose, and that's part of our own path, is to say, you know, okay, there's not, you know, there's some pretty bad things happening on the planet, but you don't have to be angry and you don't have to be part of it. And you don't have to be like feed into it, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, it brings me to, you know, more of why, brings that focus back in, like, you know, for all of us asking, you know, why are we here? What are we doing? And I think that's fluctuating for a lot of people right now too.
Hmm.
And, you know, being, you know, I know that I'm here as a light being and that I'm a conductor for light. I know that. And everything is just shifting so fast. And it feels like, you know, everything's perfect, really, when we think about it. It's exactly how it's supposed to be right now, where all of that dark and light is you know, coming up to be transformed. And it feels like, even though many are feeling the pain of what's going on, the distortion, the sadness, the disbelief, all of those things, you know, are completely normal for what's happening right now. But all of those things are also allowing people to transform what is no longer working and what they know isn't benevolent in their life. And I feel like it's happening. So as murky as it feels, and as, you know, how deeply distorted so much information is, um, the more it comes up, the faster it turns, is what I'm noticing. So when that distortion comes up, it's like, oh man, that's not hiding. That's like right here. Sweet. Let's transform it. Let's, you know, bring it to light, bring it to light, bring it up. So it's like, you know, it cannot hide anymore. It's right there to be seen. And so that's a beautiful thing.
It really is. And I totally agree with you. And I was receiving that earlier this morning too, where it's,
Yeah.
like you said, it's coming to the surface for us to look at and see it for what it is. It can be very confusing when it's happening, I think, for a lot of people. And when you're in it, when you're in the muck, you're wading through the muddy waters, and there's all this stuff, and there's all these truths that, oh no, this is the truth over here. No, this is the truth over here. You all are all wrong. It's the truth over here. What, you know, and it can be really disconcerting. And like, I don't know what to believe. And it can be disheartening, and it can be frustrating. Like, how can I get to the truth? You know, when there's all this stuff, all these authority figures, whatever, institutions saying, no, this is the right way over here. That over there is not right. But you know what? It's all just coming up, like you said, for us to be seen. And it's an opportunity for us to look at it and use our own discernment. It's, I feel like now more than ever is the time for us to really get connected within, because there's so much out there that we're having to wade through and navigate through. And it's not easy to find the truth, because there are many truths. There are many truths for many different people, and it's constantly changing. And we have to come into our hearts, into our own divine self for the answers, because we're the only ones that can find it. And it can change. And what may be true for me right now is not going to be true for me tomorrow. And that is okay. And that's just the part of what's happening, because everything is transforming. There's all these things that we're having that are coming at us, and we have to find our way through that, and not let it get us down, not let it totally just give up, you know, completely you know, well, I don't know anymore, so I just am not gonna believe anything. You know, we have to find our way. And that's, I think, one of the lessons in it, and part of ascension is finding out, coming back to that connection within, to our divine selves. We are source, we are God, or whatever you want to call it, whatever, you know, God has its own connotations for some people. You are the creator. You are, we each of us are here, we are divine beings of light. We have the ability to create what we want. And so in order to do that, though, we have to come back into the heart. And that's where everything is. That's where our creator self is. That's where our, Anya, I know you can speak to this because you're very attuned to the heart complex and all of that, but we have to stay in our truth, and whatever that is in this now moment, and ground into Gaia, ground into the earth, connect with our higher aspects of self, our team of guides, and whatever you believe in. But until we can really come back into that and find our own way, we can't seek out the truth outside of us anymore. It's just not going to get us anywhere. We have to come in to find the answers. What do you guys think about that? Or would either of you like to speak any more on that?
Yeah, Catherine, like she's so right. We are so inundated by, you know, you have to do it this way, and we're inundated with information, and grandpa wants me to, you know, do it this way, and my mom says this, and, you know, what do I want to believe in social media and mainstream news? And you're absolutely right. The bottom line is ground your energies. So you know that these are your own truths, you know, your own belief system, you know, because everybody wants your attention. Everybody wants you to do it this way. And at the end of the day, this is all just about you. You know, I want you guys to just remember that, you know, there's just so much information out there, and none of it agree, you know, this group doesn't agree with that group, and it's just a mess. So at the end of the day, this is about you, and this is about grounding and finding your own and connecting with your own GPS. You know, if you guys can do that, that's great. You've got a head start on navigating like all these chaotic energies, you know, because we're in like a time of great division. And the best thing you can do is just, yeah, like Catherine said, ground into Gaia, call in your guides, call in your angels, say, you know, help me out. I don't know what's left. I don't know what's right. You know, a lot of us don't, you know, but if you can ground and just feel, you know, what feels right for you, you know, and then if something changes 5 years from now and go, oh, how could I have done that? You don't beat yourself up. I've done that before. I'd be like, oh, I didn't feed my kids organic food. What was I thinking? Like, just don't beat yourself up, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anya, what do you have to say about that?
Well, first, I completely agree. Do not beat yourself up. We really have to have some grace and some laughter through this whole thing. So for me, laughter is like an amazing remedy for everything. Not to replace going deep, but it's very, sometimes you just got to laugh at some of the information that's out there because, you know, well, because, and so I completely agree with that. I think a lot of people are really hard on themselves, especially those who are waking up and coming into this. And I see so often when people are like, just the self-talk. I mean, you know, I should have known this. Why didn't I do it this way? I did it again. It's just, I see people beating themselves up. And let's just, you know, we'll say, you know, the self-talk patterns, you know, the patterns that we're used to. And so, you know, nipping that like immediately. So we know that these patterns happen. And the one thing that I'm not shy about now is when I'm with friends and loved ones, and we talk about those patterns. So it's like if a pattern comes up, we address it. So because as soon as we address it, or as soon as we personally notice that pattern, and it could be something as simple as, uh, gosh, sometimes, the verbiage we give ourselves, like, oh, I screwed up again, or I did this again. Paying attention to different words that we're using, paying attention to, specific words to alter the pattern when we are doing our self-talk. Because some of those words are very, very low frequency. And it's really important that we're noticing those low frequency words that are coming through in our everyday conversations to ourselves and others. And I find words really fascinating. So sometimes I'll be talking and I'll hear a word and, or I'll say a word and I'll go, ooh, because I can feel the frequency in words.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll feel my frequency switch once I've said a word, and I go look it up, and I look up the lineage of the word to find out where where the origin is, where it's been derived. And so, these words and everything that we're doing are so important in how we change those patterns. And so as soon as we notice a pattern, as soon as we catch ourselves saying something or feeling a certain way, we've already addressed it, and we've paid attention to it. And that's the key to switching the pattern. And so, yes, I highly encourage everyone who will be listening to this to really pay attention to the self-talk, because we have enough outside of us that tells us what's wrong with us. And it is up to us to take care of us. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to love ourselves like we've never been loved before. We have to.
Yeah, because your body believes you. Mm-hmm.
I have to.
We all do, yeah.
We all do, yes. But I don't want to tell someone what they have to do. So, but if we are really looking for major changes within ourselves, loving ourselves, and I remember I was working with someone recently, and she had mother stuff going on, just like I've had mother issues going on. And I remember saying to her, you'll never have a more loving mother than yourself. And that's for anybody who's had loving mothers. That's for anyone, because nobody can love us like we can love ourselves.
I love that. I just feel that so deeply, that is so true. It is so true. We are our own mother, father, sister, brother, support system. We have everything that we need within us. And you're right, it is so easy for us to beat ourselves up. And we have to, well, we don't have to.
Right.
It would be great if we could just cut ourselves some slack.
Yeah.
We're okay. We're all learning. We're all figuring this stuff out.
Yeah. We're all changing our patterns.
We are.
We really are looking at things differently and figuring out our way. Once we give ourselves that compassion, it's really easy to give other people that space to do it as well, and not take it personally and not be involved and not, so doing it for ourselves. Oh my gosh, what a great gift to humanity.
Yeah. Beautiful self-talk. Words carry frequencies, like Anya said. Be careful with the music that you listen to. I know many people don't want to hear that because they love the music they're listening to, but if it's about sadness and depression and breaking up with your, boyfriend and your spouse, and, it all comes into your psyche and your subconscious, and, your body believes you. Same thing for television. They're all signaling messages that we want to be careful. Hey, we don't want that, in our system. So yeah, be careful with that self-talk. Surround yourself with love and people who support you, and find those hertz frequencies, and just write down those mantras. I love myself. I am beautiful. I am doing this. I'm a star seed. Let that change your narrative. Change your narrative. Yeah. Because we're so inundated by crazy energies right now.
It really does shift everything when we do that. It really does. When we come back and you find yours, and we all catch ourselves, right? It happens. We get triggered all the time, no matter how long you've been on this path. We get triggered by something and we're like, oh, just want to come at, the mama bear, or the frustration or anger comes out, and you have to, okay, wait a minute. Okay, I've been there. I've been where that's coming from, or I see where that's coming from. Okay, that's what that is. All right. Come back to, okay, how does this really affect me? Or what do I want my reaction to be right now in this moment? Do I want to be that angry person that's just feeding that even further? Or do I want to be, okay, you know what? Let's just call in some light and love, because that's what the situation needs. And that's what I'm about. That's who I am. I am light and love. So I'm just going to call that in. Okay, what's the most loving thing I can do right now? Maybe it's just being me. Maybe it's just being love and holding that love right there in that moment and not reacting. Okay, that's what it is. I'm just going to be love right now. And I know that can kind of sometimes seem like, well, that seems like a very passive kind of, not wanting to do anything. But I've been taught my truth is that has a vibration that ripples out. So sometimes just being that love and holding that love and that light in that moment is really the most significant and powerful thing that you can do in that moment, rather than going and fighting and trying to shift and change something. Just creating the vibration that's the opposite of it. Take a breath. Peace, love, light. That's what I'm holding. That's who I am. Can totally, diffuse a situation in the moment. And that's part of what we're here to do. And sometimes that's the highest and best thing right there. You gotta follow that heart, come back to yourself. Follow your heart and know that all is well, regardless of what's happening all around you.
Well, that was some channeling. That was beautiful. I can tell you were channeling. And you guys are going to get some of that, We're going to bring some channeling and light language activations and toning and some just majestic singing from Anya.
She's amazing. Yeah, we all have our gifts. We all have our differences. We all have the things that we can bring.
You are both amazing. And yes, I feel that we all bring in such beautiful gifts, and they're different. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that we decided to do this together.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really looking forward to connecting with everyone who'd like to connect with us. This is going to be beautiful.
This is for our audience. We're here to share all our, collective years of wisdom and knowledge, and, share them with you guys. So thank you so much for joining us. I can feel the energy of the audience. I really can. So just so much love coming through.
We can't wait to hear what you have to share too, because there's a wealth of wisdom and experience in all of you that are going to be joining us. And, wow, we're just, I want to, for me anyway, I'm not here to just teach and guide. I'm here to learn. I
Yep.
want to learn from everything everybody else is doing and experiencing and all that. So
Yes.
I'm really excited to see how
too.
we can create this conversation and many conversations, hopefully on many different topics. And I know we hope to have, we have a lot of ideas of things we can talk about. There's so much to talk about. And so as we move through this and navigate through this, we hope to just kind of, bring in different topics and concepts and ideas and share and learn and, offer up, our struggles as learning, where we're struggling, because we don't have it all figured out by any means, where you're struggling and, hey, we can all learn from each other. And it can be a very beautiful process. So, yeah, I am excited to see where this goes, and reconnect with all of you in future episodes.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you
look
for joining us.
Yep, we love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.